I feel like I just watched that episode. Jays lose 2-1 in the first game of a 3-game set in Boston against the Red Sox. Honestly, not a whole lot to talk about with this one, so let's get right to it and wrap it up tight. In trying to decide what it is I'm going to talk about for a given video, oftentimes I'll look at emerging trends or continuations of the old or regressions to the mean. And with this one, yeah, I think there's almost no news to report. Vlad was hot. He stayed hot. The Zach Collins redemption tour continues on, unabated. Pretty soon it won't be redemption, it'll just be he's good, which I suppose will turn it into the Dave jump to conclusions tour. The bullpen was good. It continues to be good. Bo was cold. He stayed cold. Alejandro Kirk has forgotten how to leave the infield, and yeah, that happened again. Okay, so a couple of things that should be talked about. First of all, Yusei Kikuchi had a pretty rough first outing. This time, substantially better. Now, he did have to pull a few rabbits out of his hat. He gave up a lot of base runners, but was able to wriggle out almost every time. He gave up a Trevor Story RBI double, but on the whole, and in Fenway, a pretty good job. On the other hand, the Blue Jays have had a problem hitting with runners in scoring position, and that continued. In the same way that the Red Sox had a bunch of base runners off Kikuchi, the Blue Jays had tons of base runners off Eovaldi and just couldn't capitalize. And then, just like in the last game of the Oakland series, which is 2 days ago, here we have a tightly contested tie game with neither team able to gain a decisive advantage, and the game-winning run comes as a result of an aggressive play by the shortstop that ends up going awry. In this case, it's the Blue Jays' Bo Bichette with his second error of the game. Botching what should have been a pretty routine ground ball, he rushed the throw when he had way more time than he thought he did. Ball gets away from Vlad, and you'd love to have him pick that, but it was a pretty tough throw. Leads to, instead of an out, it's a runner on second base. Couple outs later, that guy comes in to score. And that was pretty much it. The bullpens locked it down. The Blue Jays never really threatened again. The Red Sox never really threatened again. It was just a very tightly pitched ball game where the result came down to one play not made. And if you feel like the Blue Jays got lucky with their win in the last game against Oakland, they were unlucky here, and you think it mostly kind of balances out. Now, the big downside here is that the loss came against a divisional opponent, but what are you going to do? Until the Jays figure out how to get a hit with runners in scoring position, until Bo Bichette starts to look like himself, I don't really know how this offense is going to improve from what it's doing right now. With this team not really able to score many more than 2 to 4 runs a game, the pitching is really going to come to the forefront. Now, it has so far. It remains to be seen how long that will last. Fortunately, the Jays have Barrios and Gausman for their next 2 starts in this series, so still feel pretty good about their chances of coming away with the series win, but obviously that got a lot harder tonight. At this point, I think we might see Vlad Guerrero Jr. get walked just about every at-bat until Lourdes or someone else batting fourth makes them pay for it. And hell, at this point, Zach Collins might end up in the 4th spot by as early as tomorrow. At this point, he's one of like 2 guys swinging the bats well, so you might as well have him back-to-back. I don't know how much longer you have to go before Bo Bichette gets a demotion. Like I said, he's had a few multi-hit games already, even while he's been cold, so you feel decent about his chances of contributing offensively on any given day, but right now he's a little tough to watch. This team will turn it around. They are way too packed with offensive talent to struggle like this, and as much as I love him, Teo Hernandez was not the linchpin of this offense. When he comes back, when Jano comes back, it'll be easier. Things will lube up a little bit. Hopefully people will relax a little bit. But for right now, it feels like everyone is super tense. Everyone's trying to hit a game-winning grand slam with nobody on the first. I feel like this is where the real value of a guy like George Springer comes into play. This is a guy who is still a big-time contributor, still supposed to be a big bat in the lineup, but he's been through this before. He's been part of the big, vaunted young core that's under pressure for the first time. He's experienced that exact scenario personally. I feel like this is where George has got to go around and tell Bo, hey, it's not all on your shoulders. There's lots of good players in this team. We'll get through this thing. Anyway, it's Barrios tomorrow night, so we'll see if he's ramped up into form. He is now at the point where he's had the number of starts that you would expect for a normal spring training. So hopefully he is in first game of the season mode tomorrow in mid-April. But like I said, not a whole lot to talk about tonight, so that's it for this one. If you like this video and you like this channel, like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. In the meantime, I will see you tomorrow night.